components. I get asked all the time, well, how does my birth path work with my essential vibration or my personality number or my heart's desire? So you can look at your birth path number as being the lesson or the class you came to be in to evolve from and learn from. Your birth path number is not who you are. Your soul is an all-loving, all-powerful vibration unique to you that has been either in the higher realms or in other lifetimes throughout time and space. You are an eternal divine being. But yes, you chose an incarnation on earth. You stamped it with your birth path number because that's what you wanted to grow into in this life on earth. That's what you wanted to learn. Those are the gifts you wanted to bring. Those are the challenges you wanted to step forward through. So, for example, if your birth path is a 4, you came to build inner and outer strength, and you'll have many opportunities to do that. And once you get your grooves going with that 4 birth path, you'll create so many systems and foundational work that will help the world move forward. That's how we look at these birth paths. And then we look at our essential vibration number, which we'll talk about Monday in class. And that is different from our destined learning of the birth path. It's kind of like when you meet me, you might feel a certain vibration. And it is my deeper nature. I always think of it as how I've moved through every lifetime. If you looked at me through my journey of being an angel in the higher realms or coming to earth, it all has that vibration of change and excitement and courage. That is the essential vibration of the 5, which is my essential vibration. So you can think of it as how your soul vibrates within your human self. That's your essential vibration. And then your heart's desire, which I love, that's also called the soul urge, but I prefer using a term heart's desire because you're already talking about your soul's journey with your birth path, your soul's vibration with your essential vibration. But then we go to the heart's desire. What do you long for? What do you desire? Even if it's not really what your birth path is about, that heart desire number is how you nurture yourself. So interesting because mine is a 7. So I nurture myself by being quiet, reflecting, peaceful meditation, spiritual study, going to the angels, writing. All of these things that are not of the world is how I nurture myself, which I just think is so important. You know, it's a really important thing to know what your soul longs for to get healed and to get able to walk through this earth. And then comes the personality number. The personality number is how the world sees you. That's the personality is a shell, really, around your human, your soul self that you agree to wear because it would open the door to certain lessons and opportunities for you. And if your personality is very big, you may have chosen, for example, a 22-4 personality. My husband, Gene, has a 22-4 personality, and people meet him and they're so impressed with him. But when you get to know him more, I mean, he's just an everyday person with problems and challenges. It's his personality that really gets the doors to open for him. And then you chose it. Your soul chose your personality number because it would align you perfectly with what you came here to do and be. And then your missing name numbers. Well, these are your chosen growth points for this lifetime. Yeah, we choose how we want to grow. If we're going to take on a big life with lots of lessons and lots of change, maybe not so easy, we'll be missing a lot of numbers in our name. And if we agree to a more quiet, settled lifetime, not as many challenges, then we won't be missing maybe any numbers in our name, but we'll still be able to tell which letters we don't have much of, which vibration we will have to focus on. I always like to tell the story that when I was studying missing numbers back in 1980, um, sorry. when I was studying those missing numbers in 1980, learning about numerology. My numerologist said, "You're missing more numbers than anybody I've ever worked with, unless you go and do Yoko Ono's path, because she's missing as many numbers as you are." And I've always identified with her because she came into the world and was hated on so much and blamed for the Beatle breakup, although that was really not her fault if you look into what really happened. And here she is, this person who just fell madly in love with John Lennon, and she had to grow and evolve and change so much in her life. And I'm missing a ton of numbers, and my lessons started early on. But it also, those missing numbers give you the opportunity to learn to excel in those areas of your growth pattern. Now, the next question might be, oh, so here's a quick summary. Essential vibration shows you how you vibrate in the world. Heart's desire shows you what nourishes you. Personality shows how you're perceived. Missing name numbers reveal growth opportunities. And that's all from my book, Angels and Numbers. I encourage you to get it because it really is the most in-depth work about numerology that you'll find, and it really talks about the numbers in terms of your soul's plan and how the angels help us with it. So there was one more thing I was going to add to that. Um, Oh, that question is gone. It was a question somebody had written me this week, and I really wanted to talk about it. Divine timing. How does that divine timing affect you moving through these months and years of your own personal year versus the universal year and the universal month? That's a really good question. So, if we're looking at this one universal year, what I want to talk about quickly is how that impacts your own personal year. And by the way, go to my free soul path calculator if you don't know how to calculate these numbers. Let me do the addition for you. Just go to my website, suefrederick.com. On the nav bar, you'll see Soul Path Calculator. Click on that, and then you'll be able to do your birth path. And at the bottom, it says level 2. You click on that. It does your pinnacles and pinnacle cycles of growth. And then on the bottom, click on level 3, and it does all your name numbers. So all the calculations I'm talking about today, you can figure out for free on my Soul Path calculator. So this is a one universal year. If you're in a one personal year, it's like you can't get your foot off of the accelerator of a car. It's really that intense. The people I know who are in a one personal year are having they're having stress, they're having anxiety because their life is moving forward and the world is changing and everything feels fluid and unexpected. And this is part of the rebirth of the world and your own personal rebirth. The souls who agreed to always be in the same cycle as the universe, they definitely are feeling the energy of this intense rebirth time. And they may be struggling with it. They may be feeling, wow, I can't hold on. I need a seatbelt. Those are how the one personal year people are feeling about our one universal year. And then we go into if you're in a two personal year or an 11-2 personal year, how is this affecting you? Well, you're feeling the rush of reinvention of the universal year, but you're in a very quieter, more healing year of the two, where you have good connections with people to process what you're experiencing and a very strong channel to the angels and the guides to help you. So you can use this momentum of the one universal year to kind of do some healing for yourself and your relationships. If you're in a three personal year, and this one universal year is coming along, it means you have to kind of quiet your creative self-expression a bit and build your foundation this year for your work, because the three is going to be all up in the head and the creative stuff of the personal year, but then the one comes along and goes reinvent, reinvent. So you might have to do some inner work of writing or teaching or creating who you are in this new cycle for the world. Then, if you're in a four personal year, and the one universal year of 2026 is affecting you, it means not only are you having to build your own foundation in your personal life of the four personal year and build your strength, but now you're being pushed forward by the one acceleration of the universal year. So it's not easy. You'll have a lot of work to do, a lot of strength to build. But in the long run, it does pay off. And if you're in a five personal year, then the five energy is always about change and expansion. So you're already in that energy. And then the one accelerated universal year comes along and goes, wow, don't take your foot off the accelerator. However, the combination of those is the number six for you. So you will be able to do some inner healing, some heartfelt connection, and you won't feel so out of control when you do that. And then if you're in a seven personal year like me, and this one energy of the universal year comes along, then you're feeling the push of the one, but the seven is saying, turn within, study, write, meditate, and you'll feel a duality of not wanting to go out in the world, wanting to do your inner work and your writing and your studying and your spiritual work. And then the one universal energy pushing you to go out in the world and show who you are. So you have to choose, well, am I going to have to figure out how to do both things? Because I can't just retreat all year, which is what my soul wants to do. And then if you're in an eight personal year, the year of owning your power, and the one comes along, it's going to make it a little harder for you to own your power because everything is so accelerated, so much change, so much growth. So you hold on to what you can hold on to build your financial well-being, your emotional power, spiritual power, physical power, one step at a time, because you've got to really take a breath between every step in that eight personal year. And then the nine personal year comes along. And if you're in a nine personal year while the world is in a one, boy, it's accelerated, meaning whatever you need to let go of this year, let it go because the world is going to rip it out of your hands anyway. So don't resist the surrender, the releasing of the old, the seeing the bigger picture that the nine personal year is calling you to, because the one universal year says, move forward. So don't resist it, or you just make it harder for yourself. So on that note, let's open it up now for questions. So please unmute yourself if you have a question about these numbers that we've talked about, or any numbers questions.